Hi and welcome to my channel. My name's Charles the Lastic and this channel is Developing Extraordinary. It's all about how to develop an extraordinary mind, an extraordinary business and extraordinary wealth. So today's video is the 8 biggest mistakes that business owners make. It's part 1 of the video because I felt it would be a bit too long if we covered all 8 in one go. So today's covering the first 4 and then I'll produce another one next week, which will be part 2. So if you enjoy this video, please give me a like at the end, and if you don't, that's fine. But without further ado, let's cue the intro and get into the video. Hi and welcome back to part 1 of the 8 biggest mistakes of business owners. So let's start straight in. Number 1, they're money driven. In other words, they set up the business purely because they believe it's going to make them a lot of money, and that's the primary objective. This ultimately is a fundamental error, and it's probably one of the main reasons why an awful lot of businesses just don't succeed in the long term. Money driven is an issue. So what should it be driven by? 3 areas: purpose, passion and payment. So let's explain that in a little bit more depth. I'm just going to go over here to draw it. So effectively you've got 1, which is your first P, your purpose. You've got your passion, and then you've got your payment. So it's the sweet spot of all 3 of those that effectively make the difference on what you're trying to achieve rather than being money driven. Okay, so let's go into explaining what that's about. So first of all, the purpose of your business should be not we sell cars. It's about what you're actually trying to achieve in the world. Why is the world better? Because your business exists. If you have a strong purpose behind your business, so for instance, my financial services company is financial peace of mind. Yeah. So it's a bigger purpose than just making the money. So a purpose engages you, engages the people that work with you, your team, and engages your customers. So really important. Passion, it's about enjoying your work. If you're going to be working 50, 60-hour weeks, especially when you start, you better enjoy it, because otherwise you're never going to make it. Also, a lack of passion in your business shows. It shows with your team, it shows with your customers. If you don't have the passion for it, you're not going to do all of the things that you need to do to make it an extraordinary business. So you should enjoy it, you should have a passion for that type of work. Last but not least, it's payment. So this is where you need a hungry crowd. There's no point in having a purpose and having passion for something if nobody wants it. Because if it doesn't achieve something in the world, there's no point, because nobody will pay you for it. So you need a hungry crowd, in other words, a bunch of people who want what the business is producing. They need to be able to pay, and they need to be willing to pay, and obviously the higher the level, the more successful the business is likely to be. And last but not least, you have to be able to provide high value to receive that payment. So it's where these 3 things come together over here, and the sweet spot is what should drive the business from the beginning, and not being money driven. Money is the result that you achieve because you've got purpose, passion, and you've got higher levels of payment. That's the end result, but it certainly shouldn't be the primary driver. Okay, the next point, sustainability. Lots of businesses go broke in the first few years, and actually, eventually, all businesses go broke. Okay, well, how many businesses have been around for 500 years? Very few, right? Right. Why? Because things change, products change, get all of that. But you should be aiming for your business to be long-term sustainable. It's not just about beating your customers. It's not just about beating your competition. Sure, that's a part of it. You have to do better than your competitors, otherwise you won't be providing value here. But nonetheless, that isn't the purpose. You should be looking to make sure that what you do in the business keeps us sustainable. If you stay in business and you're there 70, 80 years later, you've probably beaten most of your competitors just because you're there 70, 80 years later, right? So it's about being sustainable in the long term, and how do you do that? So it's not about the competition, it's about being sustainable. How do you stay in business? You look at two separate things. Number one, Kaizen. Kaizen is a Japanese word for continuous and never-ending improvement. So you're looking across everything that you do in that business and consistently and regularly and without fail looking to improve it. And the business owner's job is to make sure that that happens, that you are getting consistent improvement. But also the other big side is looking at the relative levels of risk that may impact the business. Now, I'm producing this video in the latter end of April. We're right in the middle of the lockdown and the COVID crisis, and unfortunately, there is an awful lot of businesses are going to go to the wall as a result of this, because they just didn't pay attention to some of the risks. Sometimes they did, and I'm not blaming any business owner, but I am saying looking at the risks in advance helps you to keep your business sustainable, is the point. What do you need to do? So that says 2. I produced another video which talks about the 12 essentials to build a perfect business. If you haven't watched that, have a look at that one, because it talks to some of the risks that you may not even have considered for your business and how you mitigate those. Okay, next point, number 3, work on yourself. Okay, why are we doing that? Very simply, a business is a reflection of the business leaders. All businesses are a reflection of the people that lead them, and therefore businesses change according to the leadership. Now, you can just look at that in a football team, for instance. You change a manager and the style of the team plays can change pretty quickly, right? And it's the skills that those leaders have and the skills that they need to build on. So what skills should be looking at on working on yourself? So first of all, it's your leadership skills. That's, if you own and run the business, that should be an essential element, because the only way to scale a business is to have people who work there, right? And otherwise you're doing everything, in which case it's almost impossible to scale the business. So you have to have strong leadership skills. You should be working on your business skills, your knowledge around your profession or your industry, and how do you get better, again going back to the Kaizen. And last but not least, you should take coaching yourself. If you're coached, it'll help you to build your skills, your knowledge, your business, and all of that. And because we don't see, none of us, we don't see our own blind spots. And sometimes are your team strong enough to tell you what you're not doing right? That takes a little bit to build that. So, okay, and that takes us to the next point, which is culture. So people make mistakes because they don't actively work on the culture of their business. So what is the culture? It's how people behave in the business, how they behave to each other, how they behave to you, how you behave to them, how you behave with the clients, how you behave in the whole world. That's the culture that drives that. Okay, so it's your behavior. So an interesting book was written by a gentleman by the name of Douglas McGregor in the 1960s, and he put forward what is now a seminal book for anybody who studies business at universities or whatever, and it talks about X and Y businesses. So X businesses are run under CC, which is command and control. In other words, the top tells the people down below what to do and how to do it and when to do it, command and control, right? Y businesses work on trust and autonomy. And in this day and age, Y businesses seem to be significantly more successful. Why is that? It doesn't mean you completely give up X. Obviously, most businesses are a mix of both, but if you're much more strongly geared towards a Y type business, you're likely to do significantly better. So the interesting thing is that they both work. We all know business owners who literally drive their businesses by the way that they move forward, and it's my way or the highway. Yeah. But is that effective to build an extraordinary company is the question that I would ask. So if you were going to use one, which one would you use? So I would ask myself these questions. Which one's more fun to work in, X or Y? Which one is likely to give you less stress? So if you're commanding and controlling everybody around you, is that going to be more stressful or less stressful than people where you trust your people, they're good people and they get autonomy to do their jobs? If you don't give people trust and autonomy, will great people continue to work in your company? I would suggest that they wouldn't, because, you know, in an economy which is doing quite well, great people are incredibly mobile and are able to move from one company to another because they're great. And you're not going to attract and keep good people in your company if you're running it entirely on an X-related business. And if you don't keep great people, you cannot build a great company. As far as I'm concerned, business is a team sport, and therefore to build a great company, you need great people. Simple as. So those are the first 4 points. If you found that useful, please give us a like down below. There's some links to our website which gives you a roadmap to what we talk about in how you develop your business and things like that. But give us a like if you enjoyed it, and I should be producing part 2 next week. And if you enjoyed this, please also subscribe to the channel. Thanks and goodbye for now.